the Sun, also known as Sol. For centuries humans have known that it is the center of our solar system. All the planets rotate around it. Planet Earth feeds off its energy and gives it the seasons. It has been observed, measured, tested, and predicted by Earth scientists. It is a well-documented and understood science. Through science, humans have been able to understand its composition and age. It is a G-type star, one of billions in the Milky Way galaxy, primarily made up of 75% hydrogen and helium. It is an estimated 4 billion years old, roughly halfway through its life cycle. For primitives, it was seen as a god. For modern-day primitives, aka flat earthers, it is an unknown, a mass driven by an unknown force from an unknown distance made up of unknowns. None of the claims are supported by anything, and it has bedeviled both flat earthers and geocentrists alike. Viewing the Sun and documenting its apparent motions, it becomes clear that the Earth rotates around the Sun. But apparently, you can't tell the shape of the Earth by looking up. So say flat earthers. So unfortunately, I will dive back into this depressing example of human existence and look into this claim. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Devil's in the Details that no one asked for. But I made anyways. Why am I still doing this? Because flat earthers are still a thing and the Earth still isn't flat. That, and I am bored and making shitty YouTube videos is entertaining. Flat earthers claim that the Sun spins overhead propelled by some unknown force that is unmeasured, untested, and substantiated. A healthy application of Hitchens' razor should be enough to dismiss these childish claims. Without evidence to support it or experimentation, the idea the Earth is flat should be dismissed as such.
Hey, you know how long it takes to discuss this topic? You're wrong.
Hang up.
But that wouldn't be very fun, would it? They say that we can't determine the shape of the Earth by looking up. However, this is because looking up ruins the claims. And they can't have that now, can they? Let's start by watching a flat earther explain the supposed motion of the Sun. There is one obvious error in this explanation. Let's see if you can catch it.
One of the things that I struggled with the most when it comes to flat Earth is, why does the Sun rise and set? I couldn't make any sense of it until I realized that the Sun was much closer and much smaller than we are told. The Sun appears to rise and set due to perspective only. What we are seeing here is the actual path of the Sun versus what we see because of human perspective.
Even a child could have seen that error. One of the most obvious reasons we know the Earth rotates around the Sun, and not the Sun spinning overhead, is because the Sun does not change its angular size throughout the day. It is common sense that objects will get smaller as they get further away from an observer. But that doesn't stop flat earthers from still spewing this nonsense. Much like a car driving down a long stretch of highway, it will get smaller until it is no longer visible. The same would happen with the Sun. If the flat Earth model were true, that doesn't happen. If you are skeptical of this testing, this is simple. You can construct a device to measure the Sun's angular size. First, you will need a solar filter, a sheet of grid paper, and something to mount it all on. Much like homemade devices to view eclipses, fix both the solar filter and the grid paper at opposite ends, ensuring that the full size of the Sun can reflect onto the grid paper. Throughout the day, you can note the size of the Sun on the grid paper. The results won't be surprising. Another experiment you can do is simply attach a solar filter to a camera and record the Sun throughout the day. It is so easy, even a flat earther can do it. Of course, others have done this and put their results on YouTube. The common response is that these people are shills paid by NASA, which does nothing to refute the evidence. Attacking the person and not the evidence only diminishes one's credibility, and does nothing to their actual argument. Here's one such video by YouTuber Wolfie.
So it's now 3:40 p.m. and I'll just show you the angle of the telescope again. You'll see that the azimuth has changed significantly, but again, the altitude has not changed. It's still 3391415 and flickering to 14 and 15 there. So that has not changed at all in an hour and 40 minutes since I last did this video. And the telescope is still tracking the Sun perfectly, just using that single axis of rotation, which is impossible if the Sun was doing circles above us on a flat Earth.
When you examine the evidence, the answer is clear. The sun does not change size throughout the day. An object that doesn't change size means it does not change its distance. To make this observation fit their model, flat earthers will need to identify what allows the sun to move further away from an observer without changing size and why this magical substance has the ability to determine the location of the observer in order to maintain its angular size for multiple observers across the globe at the same time. This must be measurable, testable, and repeatable, as well as make accurate predictions. Not only does the angular size of the sun not change throughout the day, its speed doesn't change either. How fast does it move? Let's ask flat earther Bob from Globebusters.
What we found is when we turned on that gyroscope, we found that we were picking up a drift, a 15 degree per hour drift.
One more time for those who aren't following.
A 15 degree per hour drift.
Because the sun moves at the same speed as the sky around it, the sun will also move at
a 15 degree per hour drift.
The reason for this is because the Earth is in motion and not the sun. It would be a pretty big coincidence if the sun just happened to move at the exact same speed as the stars. But why is that important? Let's take a look at the flat Earth map. More specifically, the tropics. Clearly, we can see that the tropics have a much different circumference than each other. As the sun drifts from the tropics, it moves at the same angular rotation of
a 15 degree per hour drift.
Using basic geometry, we can determine the circumference of the tropics on a flat Earth. The formula to find a circumference is 2 pi r, the radius being the distance from the North Pole. The distance to the North Pole for the Tropic of Cancer is 7,383 kilometers. Using the above equation, it gives us a circumference of 46,389 kilometers. This means the sun would have to travel at 1,933 kilometers per hour to cover that distance in 24 hours. The radius for the Tropic of Capricorn is 12,600 kilometers. Plug it in and it gives us a circumference of 79,168 kilometers. The sun would then have to move at 3,299 kilometers per hour to cover that distance in 24 hours. But the sun always moves at 15 degrees per hour, it never changes speed. If the sun moves at
a 15 degree per hour drift
at the Tropic of Cancer and
a 15 degree per hour drift
at the Tropic of Capricorn, it travels different distances in the same amount of time without changing speeds. How is this possible? It's not. In reality, the circumference of both tropics is 36,790 kilometers. So if this line and this line are the same size, what this means is that this model doesn't fit reality. So what shape fits this observation? The fact is, this observation only works on a globe model. So, if flat earthers wish to fit this observation to their map, they need to identify what is causing the sun to cover varying distances in the same amount of time without changing its speed or size. Again, it needs to be measurable, testable, and repeatable, as well as make accurate predictions. Good luck. Another issue is the seasons. Often claims are made that the seasons happen because of the Earth's distance to the sun. This is a massive misconception. When it is summer in one hemisphere, it is winter in the other regardless of its distance to the sun. It is summer because that hemisphere receives more sunlight due to Earth's axial tilt. When the northern hemisphere is pointing at the sun, it's summer in the north and winter in the south. And vice versa when the southern is pointing at the sun. And we can see examples of this during the winter. Look at this image. Clearly the side still covered with snow is further from the sun than the side where the snow has already melted. Or maybe shadows are in on the conspiracy. In reality, this is an everyday demonstration of the effects of sunlight and its effects on the Earth. If a certain portion of the Earth receives more sunlight, it is warmer in that region. I know that sounds like common sense, but so is the Earth rotating around the sun. Flat earthers will also say that corpuscular rays prove that the sun is closer to the Earth than we think. They will show pictures such as this and triangulate the sun by using math.
Yes. There are many times just like this when the sun shows us how close it actually is. Many people admire the beauty of the scene like this, but they never stop and think about what we are seeing. And what we are seeing are sun rays that are telling our eyes that the sun is local. All you have to do is trace the rays back to the source.
Let's take a look at the first example again and apply this logic. Clearly we can see the sun is behind the Earth. So what is blocking our view of the sun of its spinning overhead? Regardless, this sorry attempt at trigonometry fails to take one thing into account. The third dimension. Much like railroad tracks appear to converge at the horizon to an observer on the ground. When it comes to perspective, the observer's angle to the object matters. Change the perspective and you get a different vantage of these rays. Such as these. All of this they've been told and shown. Many times. And of course they will say that these images are fake. They will not present the methodology that led them to this conclusion other than if it hurts my belief it's fake. And if it supports my belief it's real. This is called confirmation bias. They'll say that all images from space showing a curve are fake. And that all images not showing a curve are real. How did they come to this conclusion? Who knows? They will never say. When you state that something is fake, you adopt the burden of proof. You need evidence and proper methodologies to demonstrate what led you to this conclusion. Throughout this video I identified a few things flat earthers need to provide to prove the beliefs. You know, that evidence thing none of you have never, nor will ever provide, and we all know why that is. Thank you for watching, and if you by chance enjoyed this video please like and subscribe. Until next time, Hail Sagan.